But first things first. The keynote of Evrim Taskiran, the CEO of Cyclecure, and that's a company selling and reselling refurbished e-bikes and e-scooters. If you have a problem, they pick it up at your home or your office, and they repair it and bring it back to you fast, no matter where you are. At least when it is in Belgium, where the company is based. So Evrim will highlight us the advantages of micromobility on sustainability, efficiency, and circularity. But he will go further than that. He navigates the mobility challenges of today, and he drives us to the transportation mix of the future. People, fasten your seatbelts, adjust your mirrors of perspective, and please give Evrim a round of applause.
Thank you very much for being here. It's an honor to be a keynote speaker at this event, and I'm really honored to be here in front of you. Transportation is at a crossroads, facing challenges on sustainability, accessibility, and efficiency. Exponential growth in urban population is stretching mobility needs to its limits, and several factors here caused an increase in vehicle ownership. This results, of course, in congestion and increased emission that has a massive influence in human health as well as quality of urban life. Every day, Europeans spend more than an hour on their daily lives for commuting, and if you look on the other hand on public transportation, especially outside major cities, is quite inefficient. What does actually this mean? What is the cost of that? Transportation plays a significant role in global warming, contributing to climate change and health issues. It accounts for about 24% of all global emissions, and road vehicles are making 75% of this total number. In major cities, transportation is the leading cause for air pollution, causing major health issues, including asthma, lung cancer, as well as heart disease. It is estimated that on a global scale, annually, 7 million premature deaths are caused by this pollution, and this number is 400,000 in Europe. And transportation sector is, on the other hand, one of the most energy-consuming sectors in the world, with significant reliance on non-renewable fossil-based products. In US only, 28% of total energy needs actually are coming from the transportation. And if we look at these emissions, if you think about it, the life cycle of a car or a vehicle is actually creating emissions that is total to its weight. So it's quite surreal. I can hear some of you may think, yeah, now we have electric vehicles, they are super cool and everything, but I would still question that a little bit. Electrification, don't understand me wrong, is an outstanding innovation that has massive potential to revolutionize the way we transport each other. By replacing a traditional ICE, we have a massive reduction on emissions, as well as we reduce our fossil fuel reliance. It offers numerous benefits on the impact on the environment and contributes to a cleaner air in the end. However, at the same time, the same high population in urban areas still pose the same challenges for the infrastructure, and it's hard to accommodate a growing demand in this space. The average occupancy of a car is 1.5 persons, and most of these transportation actually happens with only the driver itself. This low efficiency causes still the challenges on the infrastructure, the traffic, as well as parking spaces needed for all these vehicles. And if even on the per capita emissions basis, we are still quite negative. And while we look at the EVs with ALF, because we still love them, the efficiency topic is still a major drawback. This is a number from the life cycle emissions and per capita energy efficiency of vehicles. Yes, we can see it's a massive reduction from a traditional car, but it's still not as attractive as any shared transportation or public transportation, and even the ones that I did not show, which are bikes, e-scooters, as well as other means of transportation. And we can continue adding to this list if we start questioning where do the materials come from to produce the batteries, as well as the motors, the scarcity of these, the emissions emitted during the production of this vehicle. Do we have enough end-of-life solutions from reusing, from recycling, from refurbishing these components or vehicles? And do we really know how these vehicles are charged? Is it by renewable energy or by, again, fossil fuel-based energy? Therefore, cars, even if electric, may not always be the best or the most efficient, nor the most sustainable solution. Is everything so depressive then? Well, not really. We have quite good progress on a lot of innovation in the mobility space that can go beyond just vehicles. So we have ride-hailing, car sharing. Some of my friends will be sharing a panel on this topic. We have mobility hubs around cities to connect different modes of transportation together, as well as software solutions like mass solutions that make the public transportation operators a little bit more optimal. And let me introduce you something today that you actually already know. Micromobility. Micromobility is a means of transportation to cover short distances with lightweight, mostly personal vehicles that can include e-bikes, e-scooters, e-mopeds, and so on. It represents a pivotal change in the urban sustainable transit and a game changer addressing the challenges we have highlighted before, like sustainability, accessibility, and efficiency. You can still ask, what is micromobility? So micromobility is the sum of all these solutions you see on the screen, from e-bikes, traditional bikes, e-scooters, monowheelers, mopeds. They can be electric, not necessarily. They can also be human-powered. They typically have low speed, between 25 and 45 kilometers. They are designed to cover short distances, so you are not doing city-to-city travel with them. And they can be shared or privately owned. What is the typical perception of when someone says micromobility? Everybody's like, it's Lime. It's not really Lime. There's a lot more than Lime, and there are a lot more alternatives that actually are more sustainable. And what is cool about micromobility is how its environmental, economic, and health benefits can actually make a change on urban living. On the sustainability side, this is a clean alternative solution that significantly reduces emissions and contribute to a cleaner air in an urban setting. And thanks to its compact size, you are reducing your need to have massive parking spaces, so it's a little bit less burden, much less burden actually on the infrastructure. They are also very affordable. You can buy them, most of them, less than €1,000, and the lower costs during its life cycle makes it an attractive option for a lot of daily commuters with much less burden on the car ownership. On the accessibility point of view, this is for people who may not necessarily have the luxury of actually owning a car, or they may not prefer to have a car. And it also fills the gaps for public transportations, gaps in the entire system, so that it can be the first and the last mile solution that enables you to, that convinces you to use public transportation actually more often. We should always acknowledge, to make this in a better way, we still need infrastructure and safety with more safety lanes, more bike lanes, as well as more parking spots. And this is needed to make it more publicly adopted. One number I wanted to share, I'm not here to claim cars, we need to get rid of cars. We all will have certain distances covered by cars, but we don't necessarily have to use it for all the short trips. And if you look at some statistics from research, it shows actually more than 60% of all the trips we do on a daily basis can be done by micromobility, not necessarily with a Tesla. When it comes to giving real-life examples of how micromobility can change an urban or a rural landscape, it's typically very easy to think of the city of Amsterdam. And for many of us, this transformation actually happened before many of us were born. But on the other hand, we all have witnessed how this change can happen during our life cycle in the city of Paris with consistent and really insane effort on the infrastructure, hundreds of millions spent on bike lanes that already created a massive shift in people's minds that this might be actually an option I go for. And every year when I come to Paris, I'm surprised to see the adoption is growing every year on an exponential way, and there is now already queues of bikes creating their own congestion. On the other hand, is micromobility perfect? Not necessarily. And let's enter the dark side of micromobility. Like many other trends, this hype created massive investments during the 2018 and 2020 time period, and not necessarily for the sake of the benefits we have highlighted, like sustainability or efficiency, but more, of course, for growth and profits. And this, on one hand, created massive annoyance for the public. I can see many faces that actually don't like them on sidewalks, but it also created a massive electronic waste. So these are pictures from China. This is one example of what it can mean if you invest in unsustainable businesses doing operations in unsustainable manners. Another one. Looks surreal, right? It's like endless. It's millions, thousands of devices that are no longer used. So after going through this, I would like to show you a little bit behind the scenes of micromobility and what it could actually mean, and how or which players are doing something about this. So in my venture, Cyclecure, we are taking an active role in the reusing, repairing, refurbishing, and recycling activities to prolong the lifespan of these devices, but also give the ones that are seen as defective or obsolete a second life that they can continue living their lives. This is a picture when I asked AI how does circularity in micromobility means, and I got this thing, but I have better pictures that are with real people with real warehouses. So what we are trying to do here can be on the entire vehicle level, but it could also be on a just component level, that you keep reusing and refurbishing everything that you have so that you reduce the consumption, you reduce the production, and feed all this information, all this data you collect from this whole activity, tens of thousands of devices. You can even feed that information back into the eco-design so that the new products are designed in a more repairable and more ecological way. So these are not pictures from China. These are pictures from my own mobile phone. And these are all from Europe, from Italy, from Belgium, from the Netherlands, from different parts of Europe. So if things are done in the proper way, you may not end up in this way, but this is business. Things happen. But the message I'm trying to give is there are still a small number of players in this ecosystem that are trying to do something for them. And this can even go beyond I had a video which I don't want to share because it hurts me to see bikes left behind the stations are scrapped, put in the back of a truck, and then completely recycled. And now we are actively taking a role in bringing these devices back into their second lives. These are non-AI photos of real warehouses and where we do these things with real people that are employees of our company. And the end goal is to have them look like the one on the right bottom. So these devices that were given away or that were seen as a cost to get rid of could actually be refurbished completely to be fully functional and fully even nice looking if you really push all the effort into it. Also wanted to touch a little bit on the shareholders and how different players can make this happen, because it doesn't happen just by some startups trying to raise some funds and try to make a big change or a big impact. A lot of players need to put all the efforts, and the pieces of the puzzle need to come together. So we have a significant role from the governments to actually help us to enable this entire ecosystem and connecting different pieces by investing into infrastructure, by having incentive models, by having subsidies and grants so that these companies can actually have some capital to continue their businesses. Because if you look at the pictures, it's not really a VC story, I can tell you. I have been pitching to a lot of people, and if you give the story, VCs are like, yeah, this is really tough business, and it's not like a software way of scalable. That means you need additional sources of funding that could come from governments or from impact funds or from different resources, and ideally until you reach a certain way of making that business run itself. So the partnerships between businesses, governments, different players, and also this helps communities to adopt these types of modes of transportation, but also it creates a means of a mentality that is around sustainability. Excuse me. So I've tried to walk you through the way we know in the most traditional way with the congestion that we all are all familiar with. Walk through that with some innovation in the mobility space and focus only on the micromobility, which is where I am coming from. I have no intentions to say this one is better than the other, but I think we need to have a mix of all these different pieces coming together and work together. So the last note I have is the feature is now, and it's ours actually to protect it. Thank you very much. I have a stand over there in the micromobility section, so if anybody is interested, I'm happy to have a chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Evrim, Taskiran, for having this keynote.